Hello, Super Sleuths. I'm Gumshu, and I'll be your deck detective. Deck Detective is a series in which every week I play and discuss a new deck. This week we're covering Exosister, a deck of light spellcaster nuns that crusade against defiling the sacred grounds of the graveyard. It's like if Necro Valley was an archetype. I'm sorry, what? No, I don't play Gravekeepers. This deck was first introduced in famously mid-selection pack Valiant Wings, but in Sprites of Miracle got a huge glow-up with the release of Martha and Magnifica. With better starters and better endboards, this deck appeals as a fun and simple waifu powerhouse that can catch opponents off guard. Without further ado, let's see the deck list. Here's the list, and yeah, baby, we're a shifter list! Woo! It's got shifter and a completely pure archetypal layout. It's like if Flu were only slightly less annoying. So, let's talk about the Exosister core. We start off with 3 Exosister Martha. If you control no monsters or only Xyz monsters, you can special on this card from your hand, and if you do, special summon an Exosister, Exosister Elise from your deck. You cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this effect except Exosister monsters. This applies before or after you use this effect. It locks for the whole turn. If a card moves out of either graveyard, and worth noting that Martha is the only Exosister that triggers if either player moves out of either graveyard, not just your opponent doing it, you can special summon from your extra deck one Exosister Xyz monster using this face-up card you control as material. You played a 3 just crazy card, 1 card starter to a Mikolas or a Caspital or whatever gets you further in your board state. 3 Exosister Elise, it's your target off Exosister Martha, and also can special summon itself. If you control Exosister monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then if you control Exosister Stella, you gain 800 life points, and then if your opponent moves a card out of either graveyard, you can special summon from your extra deck an Exosister Xyz monster using this face-up card you control as material. All of the other Exosisters have that effect, so I'll stop pointing it out. To Exosister Stella, it is the one that is paired with Elise. During your main phase, you can special summon 1 Exosister monster from your hand, and if you control Exosister Elise, you gain 800 life points. And then to Sophia, if you control another Exosister monster, you can draw 1 card. Then, if you control Exosister Irene, you gain 800. And then Exosister Irene, you can place 1 Exosister card from your hand on the bottom of the deck, draw 1 card. Then if you control Exosister Sophia, you gain 800 life points. The reason we're playing 2 in 1 of these, a lot of times you want to search Sophia out as your normal summon. For instance, if you like Martha summon it's herself and Elise, overlay into Caspital. If you have another, let's say you have like a Stella in hand, you can search Sophia, normal Stella, Stella effect, special Sophia, and then Sophia can draw a card. So this one's played at 2, and so you go through 1 copy on your turn 1 combo, and then like if you have like a Vadis, you want a pair of Exorcists to be able to summon, and Sophia and Irene are the least consequential to summon out of your deck. They're the ones you least want in your deck. Now for the Exosister spell traps, 3 Exosister packs. During the main phase, pay 800 life points, add 1 Exosister card from your deck to your hand, except itself. Then if you added a monster by this effect, you can special summon it if the other Exosister monster I mentioned on it is on your field or in your graveyard. I mean, it's Rhoda, you played at 3, and any more copies of Martha is just insane, really vital. 3 Exosister Vadis, pay 800 life points, choose 1 Exosister monster from your deck, then take 1 other Exosister monster from your deck that is mentioned on that monster, and special summon both, but shuffle them into the deck during the end phase. Also, best this turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except Exosister monsters. You can only activate 1 of these per turn, so you can take, say for instance, Irene, and then since it mentions Sophia, you can also special Sophia. So you can chain this to an effect. If they don't know you're playing Exosister, they may not play around the Exosister gimmick of moving cards out of the graveyard. So if they like have an effect that moves a card out of the graveyard, you can chain Vadis to summon the 2 Exosister monsters, and then it resolves, and then it'll trigger the 2 on-field effects to easy summon. And then finally, you have 2 Exosister Returnia. If all monsters control Exosister monsters, minimum 1, pay 800 life points to target 1 card your opponent controls or in the graveyard, vanish it. Then you can either immediately after this effect resolves, Xyz summon 1 Xyz monster using monster's control, or if you had already Xyz summoned this turn, you can banish 1 card your opponent controls. Great trap card, especially if you don't think your opponent is going to play into your gimmick. It's a good trap card that is always doing something for you, no matter what. Staples, 3 Maxi, 2 Gamma. Gamma is really awkward in this deck because Martha locks you out of it, but it's just so good against like Sprite normal summons that like you kind of have to play it. And plus, since we're playing a Shifter deck, we don't want to play cards that conflict with Shifter unless they're really, really good, like Maxi. 3 Ash Blossom Joy Spring, 3 Ghost Bell Haunted Mansion, 2 Dimension Shifter, and 3 Imperm. We're also playing 1 Prosperity for consistency, the 2 Called By, and 1 Cross Out package. In the extra deck, we've got a Baguska, just in case, it's plan B, 3 Exosister Mikolas, made by 2 level 4 monsters, can only show a battle with a monster special from the graveyard. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If you control this card that is Exisummon this turn by using Exosister monster's material, you can target a quick effect, you can target 1 card your opponent controls are in the graveyard, banish it, and then you can detach 1 material from this card, add an Exosister spell trap from your deck to your hand. This is usually, this is probably the best Exosister monster, which is why we're playing 3 of it, and that effect is really good, just being a quick effect banish. It's really applicable to any board state, and then also searching an Exosister spell trap is really, really good. Being able to search a Vadis, Returnia, or maybe even a Pax or follow-up. We Exosister Caspital, can show a battle with a monster special from the graveyard, and then if this card is Exisummon using Exosister monster's material, neither play can special monsters from the graveyard for the rest of this turn, and then you can detach 1 material from this card, add 1 Exosister monster from your deck to your hand. This card is a little weird. The special summon lock doesn't really come up all that often, but being able to search a monster is really, really good, as you can imagine. Having an Exosister play into searching Martha, or searching a Sophia for the draw card off a special summon Exosister from hand. It comes up in a lot in lines where you're making Magnifica turn 1. And then finally we have we have a Jabreen, cannot be destroyed by the activate effects of monster special from the graveyard. And then if you control this card that was Exisummon this turn by using an Exosister monster's material, quick effect, you can target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects. And then you can detach 1 material from this card for this turn. All Exosister monsters you control gain 800 attack. And then Exosister Asophiel cannot be destroyed by the activate effects of monster special from the graveyard. This card is Exisummon using an Exosister monster's material. Neither player can activate card effects in the graveyard this turn. You can attach 1 material from this card, then target 1 monster your opponent controls, return to the hand. So if you're going through so if you have Vadis set, and then you're going through like a Magnifica line where you're like summoning Mikolas on their turn and using Mikolas effect, you want good Exosister targets off the monsters who summon Vadis, and these cards, while not doing much in terms of comboing, have really good effects. Like this is a negate and this is a Abyss Dweller, so they're really good to summon on the opponent's turn if you have already gone through your Mikolas. We're also playing 2 Exosisters Magnifica. This is made with 2 rank 4 Exosister Xyz monsters. Must be Xyz with the above materials. It can make 2 attacks during each battle phase. Once per turn, quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card, banish 1 card your opponent controls, non-targeting, and then when your opponent activates a card effect, quick effect, you can return 1 Xyz monster you own attached to this card to your extra deck, then you can special summon that monster from your extra deck by using this card you control as material. Almost always you're summoning Mikolas off this, but we're playing 2 because it's really good for helping the OTKs, it's really good, it's just a really good boss monster for your deck. Really, really nice. 1 Zeus, because we can, and then a Lina, Celine, and Access Code line, because all of our monsters are lights and spellcasters, so these are almost always going to be live. Now that we've done the card by card, let's play some games. We'll play 2 games, one in which I win that I commentate over, and one in which I lose that I commentate over. The game is afoot. It's time to duel. This game showcases the full combo of the deck when you open Martha and another Exosister name. We activate Pax, and they chain Maxi. But fortunately for us, we have the out in our hand, the Ash Blossom, enabling us to win the minigame. The chain resolves, Ash negates Maxi, and with Pax, we go ahead and search that lovely, lovely Martha. We then activate Martha in hand, special summoning herself out, and then an Elise from deck, and then we go ahead and overlay Elise and Martha into a Caspital, using its effect to prevent special summoning from the graveyard, then using its effect to search an Exosister monster, searching Sophia. We activate Elise in hand to special summon, then normal Sophia before using her effect to draw a card, and ooh, that's a pretty nice one. We overlay the sisters into Mikolas, then Mikolas effect to search Returnia, and then we cap our turn off by overlaying Mikolas and Caspital into Magnifica. We then set Returnia and Imperm, and pass turn. That's 4 banishes of any card on the field, some of which include the graveyard too. Apparently, our opponent doesn't want to deal with that, and scoops it up. We've shown the deck's great miraculous power, now let's show its darkest sins. We go first at Open Shifter, hooray! They chain Maxi, but it doesn't really matter, because our hand is kinda bad for comboing. Still, Vadis plus Returnia is totally playable. The chain resolves, Maxi Shifter, and we set Vadis and Returnia, and pass to our opponent. They draw and summon Capshell before special summoning Jet, using it to search starter. They move to battle, swing for 13 with Jet. Then in main 2, they overlay into Jin Buster, and go into end phase. Where I will activate Vadis. And they chain Ash. Yep, that's probably gonna do it for us. And we're in top deck mode here. We need to draw either Pax or Martha, and that's not Pax or Martha. We go ahead and summon Stella and use its effect, hoping that they'll let that effect go through. We are not so lucky. And we could all but scoop now, knowing that they have starter in hand. But I go ahead and pass and just let them do their thing. But not before they draw a card off Cap Shell. They draw. And they normal summon Dark Beckoning Beast. Dark Beckoning Beast effect to search Opening of the Spirit Gates. Then activate Opening of the Spirit Gates, where they can search another Dark Beckoning Beast. They Dark Beckoning Beast to normal summon another Dark Beckoning Beast. It's here I activate Max C, expecting them to overlay into Gigantic here. They chain Starter to summon Jet, which searches a Gamma Burst. And with all this on the field already, that's lethal. Still, they play some more, overlaying into Gigantic. And maybe we can Max see our way out of this one. But then they activate Droll and put an end to the party. They activate Gigantic, we chain Returnia, and although I don't realize that the restriction still applies even if you remove the monster, it doesn't really matter since they still have lethal with Gamma Burst in hand. They Opening the Spirit Gates, discard Dark Ruler to special back Cap Shell. They then link 2 into Sprite Elf. Sprite Elf effect, summon back the Jet, and then they move to battle phase, where I concede, knowing they have the Gamma Burst. So we're back, and it's pretty decent. It's certainly playable, although clearly not as strong as some other cards it came out with. We've done our investigation, now let's get into the closing argument. Verdicts are the same as usual. Going by predicted expected ranking, Law-Abiding Nursing Home Resident is below Platinum, Harmless Delinquent is Platinum, Lone Wolf is low Diamond, while Public Enemy number 1 is Diamond 1. Now up for judgment, Exosister. There's some good here. Martha is a crazy card. With just her alone, you can make a Mika list to search either Returnia for a guaranteed vanish or Vadis for 2 Exosister Exegeses if they play into your gimmick. The deck can play Shifter, and honestly quite a lot of staples. While Shifter isn't all that good right now since Sprite can largely ignore it, this deck has very potent options to help its admittedly fragile engine. Finally, it's easy to play. If not for the absurd cost of the deck caused by Mikolas and Pax not being in the new selection pack and being mandatory 3-ofs, I'd call this a very beginner-friendly deck that can win through games and through constructed gameplay and also incentivizes collecting staple cards. Unfortunately, there's also some bad here. The unfortunate reality is that this deck almost auto-loses to Sprite. Many of your plays rely on your opponent playing into the graveyard moving gimmick, and Sprite can easily ignore this by making Gigantic Sprite to lock you out of your plays. And with Exosister plays being as fragile as they are, your Sprite opponent is bound to have something to stop your really good 2-card combo. I've said this a couple times previously, but yeah, this deck can be very fragile. Getting Martha negated can in many hands end your turn, and as good as Gamma can be against Sprite, Martha's restriction that locks you out of Gamma is really annoying when you really want to negate the Ash on your Martha. And finally, this deck is very linear and easy to play around. Just don't move a card from graveyard, and if you can, destroy Magnifica, and this deck does pretty much nothing. In summary, this deck can be powerful, but it depends on the meta around it. Right now, that meta isn't kind, but check back when the Depressed Mermaids make their appearance and we may be telling a different story. This deck gets a Lone Wolf verdict. Thank you for watching. If you would like more guidance on how to make this deck work from people who've played the deck more than me, I highly recommend the Exosister Discord in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetype repository, or the Exosister channel in the Master Duel Meta Discord server. If you like this video, consider liking and subscribing to me. Also comment below what you liked, what you think needs improvement, or tell me my list was garbage. Also, check me out on Twitter, where I follow other VTubers and Yu-Gi-Oh! Content, as well as post updates and my thoughts, and Twitch, where I stream Master Duel rank climbs, other Master Duel Yu-Gi-Oh! Related content, and other games. Also, if you would like to discuss my content, or Yu-Gi-Oh! In general with other like-minded people, consider joining my Discord, linked in the description. Thank you, and have a good day.